On November 24th, 1971, a person who identified himself as Dan Cooper bought a ticket on Northwest Orient Flight 305 going from Portland to Seattle. And when they were up in the air, and one of the shortest flights you can take, he said he had a bomb. It then arrived hours and hours later at SeaTac Airport, and on the ground, he said he wanted $200,000 and four parachutes. Everyone got off, and then he then went up in the air with the flight attendants and the pilots, and at some point, he jumped out at 20,000 feet and was never discovered. The only unsolved hijacking in American history. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because this story has fascinated so many, and as it's the 53rd anniversary, it's kind of interesting to talk about, but it's also interesting to figure out there really isn't much to collect here. Obviously, all the items were FBI obtained. The tie is still with the FBI. He left the tie on the plane. The money, actually, though, is collectible. And this is what happened. In 1980, an 8-year-old boy was setting up a campground along the Columbia River. His name's Brian Ingram. And Brian found a bunch of dollars that, when they looked at the serial numbers, was traced back to the money that the FBI noted. He was allowed to keep some of that. And in 2008, he decided to sell a bunch of it through heritage auctions. The good ones sold for a couple $1,000s. The small pieces, obviously much curated, sold for a couple $100. The most recent one commanded 20 grand. So collecting DB Cooper all of a sudden has happened through these bills that were discovered by a young boy in 1980. And it seems like with all the Netflix and all the stories, there was a movie about it. But over time, there's been so much talk about DB Cooper. It is so fascinating. And yet there's so little to have. Actually, the wanted poster that everyone sees was not the wanted poster that was circulated. The original drawing was with a piece of paper that gave his descriptions, but he was never actually wanted in the fact that he was never put on that type of poster. And actually, there was never a reward for him by the FBI. Northwest Airlines did put out a reward, but there was never a reward from the FBI. So a lot of what has come out, or what is the replica posters that people have, which are all out there, actually not even real. You'll never find a wanted DB Cooper poster. The only thing that sold in 2013 was a typewritten fact sheet about DB Cooper with the deposit with the composite of his face, and that's it. So it's almost like collecting DB Cooper as is rare as finding the solution to the DB Cooper mystery.